At the foot of Zhongnan Mountain, in the deep mountain depression, there is a small village destined to never appear on the map of China. The village is very small, only the size of a palm, with only 81 households, no more than one household. According to the blood parchment genealogy in the village, the history of the village can be traced back almost hundreds of years. During the Wanli period of the Ming Dynasty, the ancestors of the village had already taken root in this mountain depression at the foot of Zhongnan Mountain and have been settling down until now. The villagers are mainly based on the ancient surname, and the clan heads of previous dynasties, and even the current village heads, are all people with the ancient surname. For hundreds of years, the residents in the village have maintained 81 households, with no more or less than one household. This is one of the 3 village rules in the village. There are 3 village rules, the first of which is that the residents in the village must maintain 81 households. If there are more households, they will be kicked out. If there are fewer households, they will be given birth to me. The village rules are second to none. 81 ancestral houses can only be repaired and cannot be demolished. That is to say, the house in the village must remain unchanged from the time it is built. Even if it is unable to live, it must be rebuilt on the same site. The first 2 village rules may seem inhumane but acceptable, but the third one seems a bit outrageous. 81 households of villagers in the village have the right to provide for the Taoist priests in the village Taoist temple for eternity. They must not disobey or be expelled from the ancestral family with the ancient surname. The first 2 village regulations, violators are the same as above. These 3 village rules have never been violated, although time has passed for hundreds of years. The villagers now do not know where the rules come from, but they all understand a truth. The villagers in the village rarely get sick and rarely cause disasters. Basically, every household has an average life. There are 312 villagers in 81 households, and there are 109 people over 100 years old. Those who are 90 years old can still work during the busy farming season, working from sunrise to sunset. It's amazing how many people in this village have lived a long life for over 200 miles. On the contrary, it is the villagers who have moved out of Gujing village, although no one has suffered a major disaster. There are not as many people living long as in the village. The village is called Gujing Village, and the Taoist temple that is being supported is called Gujing Temple. The Gujing Temple is built on a small hill in the middle of Gujing Village, with 81 ancestral houses, with ancient surnames arranged in a staggered manner around the village. If someone can overlook from a high altitude, they will find an amazing scene, where the arrangement of the 81 houses is surprisingly similar to the arrangement of the 8 trigrams, and the Taoist temple is precisely advantageous in the array of the trigrams. Unfortunately, since ancient times, no one has come to the high altitude of Mount Zhongnan to observe this scene. In fact, even if someone flies up and down in a plane, they will only find that there is always a white mist above Gujing village and Gujing temple. The village cannot be seen, and the Taoist temple is also not seen. Gujing village is small, while Gujing temple is smaller. Not only small but also dilapidated. The Taoist temple dates back a long time and was built at the same time as Gujing village. Hundreds of years have passed, and the Taoist temple has not been repaired. The vermilion courtyard walls have already collapsed. 2 main doors are tilted to the side, and the 4 tiles covered in the courtyard are also shattered. The main hall of the Taoist temple is even more dilapidated. This seems to be a Taoist temple without incense. In fact, this Taoist temple does not have much incense. For hundreds of years, few people have entered the Gujing temple, and even local villagers do not casually enter. Only the clan or village chief enters the Taoist temple during major events, and there are few people in the temple on weekdays, because there are only 3.5 people in Gujing temple. A scruffy old man who sleeps under an old locust tree in the Taoist temple, dressed in a Taoist robe, in front of the Sangqing statue. In the Sangqing hall Saturday, a middle-aged man holding a rusty iron sword, speechless all day long. There is also a young man in his 20s who spends all day nestling in the scriptures of the Taoist temple and rarely steps out. As for that half, it was the senior brother who stepped out of Gujing temple 8 years ago and never returned. The sun is setting in the west, and the night is setting on the southern mountain. Most of the households in Gujing village have already started to light a fire and cook. After a moment, The 39th household walked out with a middle-aged woman carrying a wooden bucket and walked briskly towards the Taoist temple on the hill behind the house. The woman came to the front and back of the temple door, placed the bucket in her hand in the middle of the dilapidated gate, and respectfully bowed to the inside of the temple, but without looking inside. She turned around and left. This is a rule that has been in Gujing village for hundreds of years. Every day, 3 meals are delivered to Gujing temple by a family. The scruffy old Taoist, under the old locust tree, opened his turbid eyes and slowly stood up. He walked to the door to pick up the wooden bucket, and then returned to the locust tree. At this moment, the middle-aged man holding an iron sword in the hall also slowly walked over, after observing. The young man in the attic was the last to come. The 3 of them sat cross-legged under the tree and opened the bucket, which contained freshly made rice and 3 home-cooked dishes. The old Taoist, middle-aged, and young people each picked up their chopsticks and began to eat. The scene of the meal was very strange. The 3 of them didn't talk a word from beginning to